Hello and welcome to Spiritually Unchained. I am Jamhuri. Thank you for allowing me to guide you on your spiritual journey. I would like to share 7 benefits of yoga since I started practicing it in 2016. After that, I will close with an entry in my journal that I made in January at a point where I stopped practicing for a few days. In 2016, I felt that my life needed a reboot. It was also the year of my awakening. I was feeling very lousy, and I went to the chiropractor to fix me up. I told him that I felt like I was living in the body of a 70-year-old lady. But I was way younger than that. I was feeling exhausted and very sluggish. And I was looking for an exercise routine to shape me up. But I had been to the gym, but I did not enjoy it. I dreaded going there a few years before that, but only went there to use up my gym membership. Then a colleague at work suggested yoga to me using YouTube videos. I have to say right here that when he mentioned yoga, some red lights, alarms went up for me, because growing up Christian and even in Bible school and in churches, you could not cross that line. It was felt that yoga was going to lead us astray into other religions and we would lose our faith in God. It was just a way of getting lost, and it was believed that yoga would just open the door to another religion that we were not supposed to go. But in 2016, I was becoming open to many possibilities. So I tried yoga and I began to really like it. And I've kept it until now, March 2023. Interesting is when I met my spiritual teacher, and I would proudly tell you who that is, Master Sri Akashana. And then I joined his tribe or community that he introduced me and others to. And he had just come from the Himalayas, and he had learned yoga, the real ancient yoga, the spiritual yoga, the yoga for manifestation. And wow, that was very powerful. And when he introduced it to us, it was advanced yoga. But I've kept at it, and I've greatly benefited from it. I felt that I found what I was looking for, an exercise routine that is sustainable for me, that everything else was not for me, other exercises weren't for me, but this one was the right one. And here are 7 benefits of yoga that I have personally experienced. And I've realized they are all interconnected. When I practice yoga consistently. 1, flexibility of body. When I started out in 2016, I was feeling very heavy. I was out of shape. I could barely lift my feet above the ground. That's the time that I said I felt like I was living in the body of a 70-year-old. But I also told myself that since the birth of my children, who were at that time were in high school, the oldest one, that I'd been out of shape for a very long time. And I promised myself that in order to get into shape, it was going to take many, many years, as old as my oldest child was. She was, in grade 12, about 17. So I gave myself there a long leash to say I will stay consistently. And up to now, I would say I have become quite flexible. And my children are amazed at what I can do. So that's one benefit. Number 2 is that I became calmer, much calmer, and energetic. I have much more energy. In the past, I used to be very sluggish and tired and could not do a lot of things throughout the day. And I felt that morning hours were the best times, and afternoons I could barely do anything. And I realized that, I used to be very, an angry person, temperamental, easily triggered, I'm fiery, and all those, emotions that were destructive to myself and others. When they crossed me badly, I could lash out easy. But I realized that after these many years of practicing yoga, I've become calmer. I listen to people. Even though they trigger me, I kind of just don't take it to heart. But this also has something to do with my spiritual journey, the cleansing that has come out of this. But I control myself more, and I hardly get angry anymore. Number 3, I have become aware of my food choices and my nutrition. And as I said earlier, that my yoga practice and my lifestyle is very interconnected. On the days that I don't practice yoga, that day or the next day, at least 2 to 3 days, I feel that my nutrition, my food choices fall back to the unhealthy. I try to cut out carbohydrates out of my system because, my blood sugar is a bit high. But on the days I do not practice yoga, I find those carbohydrates to be attractive, and I go for them, and I have a don't care attitude. But when I get back to my yoga, I find that I have less interest in going for food throughout the day, or it cuts out that desire to eat constantly or to choose carbohydrates. Number 4, courage in the middle of fear. And this became very apparent to me in 2021. That was the year that I had a very hard time, very difficulty, and a crisis, I would say. And when you're in a crisis, you tend to get nervous, and your brain overworks, and you're thinking negative and all this. But I decided, because of my spiritual lessons, to be calm and to go for the positive thoughts at that time. But I also, when you're having a crisis, you tend to not want to do a lot of things. You lack motivation. But I told myself, no, what would my spiritual teacher do? And I know he's highly disciplined, and he practices yoga whether he likes it or not. He's made it his daily routine. And I would also think about that teacher and say, yeah, this is what he taught, he teaches. And so I'll pull myself out of bed, and every morning I would do at least an hour of yoga. And that was also good for my body, because when you're going through stress, you get so exhausted. And it helped me a lot to really help my muscles a lot. And I found that before my mind got me into thinking about my situation, I counteracted it with doing yoga first before I went into my issues. And after an hour, I felt very different. I felt I could face the day with courage, bring it on. I was ready. And actually, as the hours went by, I felt that there was nothing I could not overcome. And if I missed a day, then I would feel like my mind wants to fall back into negative thinking. So I used yoga to get through that year. Actually, it took me about 2 years. It's just now 2023, since December 2022, that I felt like that crisis has lifted, and I'm at the tail end of it. And yoga was a very big part of my overcoming that situation. Amazing. I would have to say right now, by acknowledging my other teachers, Sadhguru likes to talk about inner engineering, and yoga is a big part of it. And so when you deal with it inside, it reflects on the outside. And so I benefited from that greatly. Number 5, creativity. When I do not do yoga, my mind somehow is not creative. I tend to, move around, do some things that don't matter. But after I've done yoga, and I've realized at least an hour afterwards, I get so many ideas come into my mind. And I've been watching myself. Well, why do these ideas come, and when do they come? And why do they come on a certain day and not another day? But I realized that I behave differently on the day that I do not practice yoga. And even my creativity is low. But after yoga, ideas come through. Number 6, gaining height. Oh, this is interesting. I went to the doctor for my yearly checkup, and they measured me. And they said, oh, you are 5'6". I said, no, I am 5'4". No, she said, look at this. And I said, I grew 2 inches. Wow. And I thought quickly, how did that happen? And I said, oh yeah, I think it's yoga, because yoga has a lot of stretching. When you're laying down, when you're sitting down, when you're standing, you pull yourself in all directions. And so that surprised me very much. And I attribute those 2 inches to yoga. And the 7th one is toned body and weight loss. I've lost a lot of weight. I feel good. My body is toned. And this is still the number one thing that I went to first. It is just a side benefit to it. And I've become flexible compared to all those years that I've been doing it. And as I promised before, I said I would finish with an entry in my diary in January. This was from January 19th, 2023. And I wrote down benefits of yoga. Before And after this new year, after a disrupted routine, I realized that I stayed away from yoga, especially the week of January 9th to 16th, due to many planetary situations and Mercury retrograde. I noticed that not doing yoga, I was lazier. My food choices and intake were not ideal. Going back to carbs. And I watched movies, and I didn't want to do my YouTube videos or go for walks. 2 days ago, I meditated and got back to yoga. After I did that, I felt different. I wasn't as hungry as before. I was careful of my food choices. I returned to YouTube ideas. And yesterday, 2 days later, I posted a video. I think it's all tied to yoga. It brings discipline, time management, balance, clarity, empowerment to stay the course. Does anyone feel this? And by the way, weight loss is the end result, and toned body, good posture, and a flow of many, many smiles. So I thought I would share this today, and I would love to hear your comments on your benefits, how you've experienced it, and if you're wondering about yoga, whether it's good for you, I would just say get to it. Find a good yoga teacher. I started with YouTube videos. That was a good start, and it led to finding, when I was tired of those, this is another side story. After I was done with those, I felt I had mastered that, and I was looking for a bit, better exercise in yoga. And I remember after a short time before I met Master Sri Akashana, I heard it in my intuition that I should find advanced yoga. And it really shocked me a bit, like, why? I thought about it, like, what? Am I going to be a yoga teacher? No, I am a beginner. But this intuitive feeling was so strong. And so I went on Udemy online, and I looked up yoga teachers or yoga courses. I thought I just thought I should listen to this intuition, find advanced yoga, and go with it, see where it brings me. Maybe I need to learn it, but I didn't think I was going to be a yoga teacher. And that was 2018, late 2018. And I met Master Sri Akashana. His name was Eric Ho at the time. But after he came back, after learning from his master, he came back and said, okay guys, I'm going to teach you yoga. It's going to be advanced yoga. And then it rang a bell for me that my intuition was telling me, get ready for the next level of yoga. And there was, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. And I wish you all the best in your training. Keep at it. And I would love to hear your story about the benefits of yoga to you. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, get spiritually unchained.